So I've got 10 new fan motors, and we've found that a lot of them, the resistance is way too high through these two red wires. You can expect probably on a good one about 120 ohms. On these faulty ones that have come through, I think I've got about 4 out of 10 that are read incorrectly. The actual reading varies between 10, 12, 15k all the way up to 35 depending on when I try it. And I mentioned this to my colleague Kev, who does GHD repairs and is our programmer, and he'd had this before, and before I'd investigated it any further he mentioned that it is down to corrosion. So brushes are obviously each side, they're spring loaded, and let me see if I can get that in focus for you. And what you need to do is prise off this metal piece here, which is clipped around the plastic. So if you get your finger in the end, perhaps with the wire, actually if I can show you that, yeah, you see just in there, it's the metal is bent over and it's being held loosely in place. So if you get in there with your finger and just bend that up there, this whole thing will lift away and it will expose the spring, and you can lift that spring out and the brand new brush comes out. The problem is, if this will focus, the end of that spring is just blackened with it's just tarnish. Well, I said corrosion, didn't I, earlier? That's not really the case. It's just tarnish. So to get these back to where they should be, either just use a little flat file of some description. What I'm going to do is just quickly run the Dremel over it. I've got a little diamond disc. So if you look at the difference there, now if you look at the difference now, hopefully you can see the light reflecting on there, and it is completely back to bare metal. So we're going to put that back in there, make sure it's around the right way. It curves obviously with the commutator. Pop that back in, and we are going to just push that down, make sure it lines up. Now of course you could, if you wanted to, just scrape this. I'm assuming it's brass, I don't know for sure, that we could just clean the surface of that up if you wanted. It's pretty clean, to be fair, but that there is a little bit of tarnish on there. So I don't know whether these have just been in storage for ages or what the issue is. Anyway, so now we've got a clean metal plate, clean end of the spring, and you just make sure that spring goes into the middle, and you can literally push that back in. So we've pressed it in and got it in place at that end, and now just get it back over that plastic and lock it in place. Now that spring is not quite under there, so we can just move that across, and there you go, that is one side done. Now if we go over to the other side, again just lift the end up with the wire and let that come out. There you go, and there's the spring. Same story. This one I'm going to do with a needle file, so you get the idea. Just going to go over it like that, just turning it round in my fingers. still think the Dremel's better and easier. But the point is, you can see hopefully the shininess back on there. Same here, just going to get some of that tarnish off. There we go. Pop the brush back in, following the commutator. Tuck in one side and then one side with the wire. Just bend it out and back in. There we go. And then just secure it like so. And if we check the readings now, I'm not going to move the meter, you're going to have to take my word for it. If we check the reading now, we have 149 ohms, 152, and yeah, we know now that we are going to get a working fan when we next go to to fit one. So yeah, any fan with spring-loaded brushes could suffer from that problem. And yeah, just make sure that these are nice and tight when you are finished. You could get in there if you wanted to with some pliers and just crimp, just squeeze these a bit, and there you go, that's tightened that up. So that is a little bit tighter now. So just get in on the back and just nip it up if required. There we go. Yeah, that's done it. Okay, so that can apply to any fan motor or any motor with these brushes held in place with that sort of arrangement. So yeah, I hope that was useful.